Okay. Hello, everyone. Happy Whinypaluza Wednesday. Lily, it's what?
No need to
No
whine.
need to whine.
Whinypaluza Wednesday. Grab some wine and join us on Whinypaluza Wednesday with the Green Family. Jump, you good.
I never know how to start this song. Ella, we need you to start the song. Okay, we'll remember next week. So, Seth has been doing a lot of work over here to try to get this to work tonight, and he says the title might be wrong.
I just fixed it.
Oh, never mind. He fixed it. So he's hard at work tonight. I'm putting him to work. The technical master behind the scenes is going to come on over.
I don't know about master, but I try.
Well, I had the pleasure of getting to talk to Deva Del Porto today for my podcast.
That was awesome.
And the reason I'm telling you this, not only is she amazing, go look up My Life Suckers if you don't know who I'm talking about and laugh with her, because her songs and dances are just so fun and we all need to laugh right now. And the reason I'm bringing her up, besides the fact that I loved talking to her, is that she was telling me that she does so much of her own stuff. And I just want to say again publicly, and I will text and email all of them, that Seth and his team do so much for me. Like, I try to do the creative stuff and I try to do the content stuff, and then they take it and do their thing.
Yes.
So
your job is just to be the talent.
So I'm so thankful. I can't imagine having to do all of the behind the scenes work. So thank you, honey.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
And I'm sorry it took you like 3 tries to get this.
Listen, I learned the lesson. I am going to check the streaming key and API interface before we go live. I had this issue the last 2 days in my office until I finally figured it out that I've got to check it every single time.
Okay, well, we learned something.
We did learn something.
So it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
And Lily and I just played bingo with her school. So kudos to the PTA for that awesome creative Zoom event. It was a lot of fun. And I hope that people are finding ways like that to get together, even if the whole school is virtual. It worked, and and Lily was so excited, and it was so much fun. So thank you to her school. It
sounded like you guys were actually having a fun time together.
Oh my God, yes!
How does that happen?
Well, so it brings me, okay, I'm going to tell you our topic, and I'm going to tell you how it relates to what I'm saying. Well, and you're going to be proud of me because, okay, so Seth attended a 4-day Tony Robbins virtual seminar.
Unleash the Power Within virtual.
And
15 hours a day.
And he said to me, do you want to do this 4-day event with me? And I was like, what are you smoking? So I totally forgot. First of all, he did ask me to attend with him. And second of all, I totally forgot about it until he said, oh, I'm home the next 4 days. I'm going to do the seminar from the kitchen. And I'm going to.
That's not what I originally said. I said I was going to do the seminar from home.
Yes.
So that because it starts at 9 a.m. and goes till midnight, I'm not going to be at the office till midnight. So I figured I'd do it from home. And then you said,
I said, stay in the kitchen with me so that I can listen, because I had totally forgotten about it. Didn't know why he was home. And I realized that I didn't sign up because I am the woman who makes things like this happen for Seth. So my goal over the next...
You make it possible.
Yes. My goal over the next 4 days was to make sure that he could attend as much as he could, because he's also going to teach it at his mastermind event, which we will tell you about in case you want to attend.
Yes.
So I wanted him to attend, and I wanted to hear as much as I could. So I did not attend. I was in the kitchen. So
instead of sitting with headphones, I had a big speaker attached and cranked it up so that she could hear it while doing her life.
So kudos to Tony Robbins and his team for having how many people on Zoom?
Like 40,000.
40,000 people. So I learned a lot by standing in the kitchen and doing my normal routine and running through the
Listening.
house. And I was in and out a lot. So I did not pick up on everything, but I wanted to share with you. I did write a blog that went live today. So you can feel free to read more thoroughly some of the lessons that I learned. But I'm going to tell you about some of them. And I'm going to tell you how it applies to my day today. Because Tony talks so much about what you focus on. And I can't sit here and choose to focus on all of the hard stuff that was today. Because let me
You
tell
had a
you,
lot of challenges.
it was not an easy day. And someone was very challenging.
Not me. I wasn't here.
You weren't even here. But I want you to know that venting to you over text message, like, it makes me feel supported.
Okay, so that's good to know and good for me to hear, because I had to do some of my own focused work because you kept sending me these text messages and I was trying to work.
Okay, well, just
and then
ignore it.
And then part of me was, I started to get mad going, I can't do anything right now. Why is she could tell me later. And then I had to do my own focus work and realize you were doing it because you needed to vent, as opposed to, let's say, yelling at a person. You were venting to me via text message, and I needed to be supportive and hear that, as opposed to thinking you were, interrupting me or something like that.
And
so I had to rechange my thoughts.
You don't have to respond. You don't have to read it. When you have time, read it and send a supportive response. But you don't have to interrupt your day. Just venting to him. But anyways, I'm totally getting off topic.
You are. Kelly and Eliza, say hi.
Hi, ladies. So what we focus on. He talks about 3 decisions that we make during our days. Okay. What are we going to focus on? What does it mean to us? And what am I going to do? Okay. So I just want to use today as an example, and I want you to help me through this, that I realized how happy I was before this started. And I realized that,
like, I was happy when I got home, and then I walked through the door, and in 5 minutes I was like, man, I wanted to stay happy and I'm letting you ruin my mood.
Well, don't let me. I was leaving. You know what? I screwed up, because when Seth walked through the door, I haven't done this since they were babies. But when Seth walked through the door, I was like, I'm leaving. It's going to be quick. I'm going to make a cookie drop off for Girl Scouts. I'm going to be by myself for 10 minutes and I'll be back and I will reset. And it didn't happen. But we did take a walk and reset. And I did reset on our walk.
Except you took somebody with you
on
the walk.
Don't get off topic.
Sorry.
So I realized before this vlog that I was so happy. And the reason why I was so happy was because I was focusing on all the awesome things that happened today. My brain was honing in on the happiness. And I was like, oh my God, I got to talk to Dava, and that was so much fun. And it was so beautiful outside. We live in Buffalo, New York. It has been freezing. And it was like 60
degrees today.
Like 64. And Lily or Ella was like, how come we're wearing shorts and t-shirts and it feels hot like summer? And I said, because your blood has been so used to the freezing cold that this is like amazing. So it was sunny and beautiful. And I took 2 walks and I soaked up the sun, and I did bingo with Lily, and we were giggling and having bonding time together. That was good time together. And I realized that I could have been focusing on our fighting today and her not listening to me and whatever was going wrong, but I totally wasn't. I was focusing on the good. And it just meant that it made me so happy versus sad and upset right now while I was talking to you.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not a really good example to follow these 3 decisions, but what am I going to do about it? I am going to keep focusing on good things, and I am going to, what else am I going to do?
Well, you got to assign what value it means. So you could say you could have texted me and I didn't respond, and you could have said he's ignoring me and been mad at me.
Yeah.
Or you could have said he's probably working and he'll get back to me when he can, and I'm so glad that he's out there helping provide for us. in which case then you would have had a different emotional experience.
Well, and this is a really good chance for me to tell Seth and to tell all of you that what it means for when I send Seth a text needing to vent when he's at work, I have assigned the value and the decision that I know he has like 12 meetings a day, sometimes more than that. So I don't ever expect a response. I just know that sometimes I just need to text him.
Send it out.
I just need to send it out into the universe and get it off of me. And I'm not trying to give it to him. He can reject it. He doesn't even have to read it. But me just getting it out, just me getting it out of my system, I have decided that just getting it out helps me.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
So these are all decisions, and you can assign any value you want to things. And Tony was giving so many examples of ways that we can make decisions that go in good or bad directions to make us feel good or bad. And he also said that not making a decision is also a direction.
Yes.
Which I'm very good at that.
Yes, you are. That's a talent.
Oh my God.
You avoid making a decision and thus force someone else to make it.
You know what? That is a whole topic.
Yes.
I can write about this another week.
That's another week.
Because one of the things that I feel like I have strengths. I could tell you my strengths, but I will tell you that one of my weaknesses is I feel like I could be a more decisive person. And I think and one of the things that Seth said to me was, I want you to be decisive.
Yes, you don't have to be right. You just have to be decisive.
Well,
you can always change directions. It's hard. It's easier to change direction than it is to get started going in a direction.
Yes. Okay, moving on. So I love these 3 questions that we learned, and I just love assigning like a value to these questions every day that we can ask ourselves to increase our happiness. Okay. And chime in and whenever you want. So question number 1 is, do you focus on what you can control or what you can't control? That was his question number 1 that we ask ourselves. Number 2, do you focus on what you have or what you are missing? And number 3 is, do you focus on the past, the present, or the future? And I love these 3 questions because if we focus on what we have and what we can control and the present moment, if you just work on those 3 things, you will see that your happiness will skyrocket.
Yes, because if you're in the past or you're in the future, those are what causes stress and anxiety.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I always tell myself that the past is over and the future hasn't happened. And that, in our mindfulness journey, everyone's talking about mindfulness. It's about being present focused. And I was evaluating myself today as I was going over these questions. And I think that I'm good at realizing what I can and can't control, which we will talk about. I think that I'm good at remembering the gratitude in what I have. And I think the one that I need to work on the most is staying in the moment.
Yeah.
For me. So you agree with my assessment?
I agree with your self-assessment.
Okay. Do you want to say your assessment or do you want me to move on?
No, my assessment of you. Agree.
No, of you. Your assessment of you with these 3 questions.
So yes, I have been working on more what value I assign to things, because I caught myself once or twice in the last couple of days starting to get annoyed at something at work. And in my head, I was like, oh, just fix it and leave me alone. Like, you don't need me for this. And like, why do you talk to me about that? Just don't tell me the labor story. Just show me the baby. So I had to say, hey, is this really what you want to focus on? Is this really the value you want to assign to this? Is that going to serve you? In every case, the answer was no, it wasn't helping the situation. I had to change how I looked at it. And then magically the situation does change.
Well, and I love that example, but I'm asking you about the 3 questions.
And
can't.
Sorry.
So can you assess yourself with these 3 questions?
Yes, I usually focus on what I can control. I usually focus on what I've got. And any anxiety I ever experience comes from future focus. I tend not to be in the past much at all. I am usually present or trying to pull myself into it from the future. Really
good assessment. And I think that, someone was talking to me about their kid and their child learning about what can you control and what can't you control. And we've had a lot of conversations about that recently, about, okay, we can't control what people say to you, but we can control your reaction. We can control how you handle it. We can control what you do, but we can't control other people.
Correct.
And I can't control the school district. I can't tell the school district to send my kids back to school.
Would you like some of your wine, honey?
Anyways, I
Right.
can't control the CDC guidelines. I
Right,
can
right,
only realize, I have control over how I'm handling it, how my family's handling it. I honestly have looked at a lot of the blessings, because Monday and Tuesday when my kids go to school is exhausting. The whole morning process,
Oh,
the
right.
whole after school crankiness, like they have no school stamina. So I have focused on the fact that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a little.
Yes, your mornings are easier. Your afternoons are easier. It's the big middle part that gets a lot harder because they're here.
It's
Except
hard,
for Max, his doesn't change.
it's harder to get stuff done, but
Yes.
okay, we're going to move on.
Yes.
So Tony talked a lot about big actions, getting big results, and the fact that hard is good and that easy doesn't really take us anywhere. And I was like, hard is good. Like I was like embracing it.
Choose the good hard.
Choose the good hard. Well, and he was saying like, it's hard to be fat. There's hard parts. I shouldn't say fat. It's hard to be overweight.
You got to do the work to be overweight.
Well, and there's physical ailments and
True,
blah, blah,
but that's not
blah,
what
and
he was talking
medical
about.
problems. And it's hard to be thin.
Yep, you
To
gotta
be
make the
thin, you
choices.
have to work. I mean, you have to work really hard to stay fit. And he talked about athletes and how hard they work. And I was thinking about the fact that I will, and you can probably relate to this, I will do something small and I will be like, the scale's not going down.
I worked out for a day. I didn't lose 10 pounds. What the heck?
Well, not
You're
a
not that
day.
bad.
I work out a lot actually, but we just need to sew my mouth shut. Whole nother topic.
Yeah, we'll talk about what you're focusing on there and what that means.
Okay, I'm totally kidding around, but so, he talked about the fact that we see the success. We see people's success. We see the final results, but we didn't see what it took for them to get there.
The
We
20
didn't
years
see
to be an overnight
their
success.
failures. We didn't see them trying and trying again. And I use the example of Kara Harvey in my blog. And Kara is a mommy coach. She's a coach for moms. She has a podcast, The Purpose Driven Mom, and she does so many things. I can't list everything that Kara does. It just keeps building because there's momentum. And I was listening to her podcast, and she was talking about the fact that people will say to her, well, how did you get here? She's making 6 figures. She's doing amazing. And she's like, nobody knows. And, she's like, I'm going to tell you now, but nobody knows the backstory, the beginning when I wasn't making a lot of money and I was trying to learn everything and I was trying to do everything myself and I wasn't outsourcing anything and I was overwhelmed. And, she took us through her story and her years and how she got to where she is today. And I think that, we see all these people doing so fabulous, but we don't see the process. So we have to remember that there's a process to get where we want to get. And he's so motivating. I mean, don't you want to just like go do something?
I did.
You did a lot.
I've been doing things.
Oh my gosh. You probably know by now that I'm an emotional person.
What?
So
You never told me that.
he talked a lot about the fact that we're enough, how we are today. Yes. And it makes me sad when I hear people say, like, when I'm thinner, when I'm, more successful, when I make more money, when I have children,
then I'll be
like,
happy.
I'll be enough. I'll be happy when. But like, how about today? How about we realize we're enough today with, what we did or didn't do, and, what we have or don't have. And he talked so much about just embracing yourself and having the self-love and that you're enough. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I need to listen to him every day.
I have an app where you can.
Well, kudos to him for being so motivating, because I was very motivated. I got to keep it going.
Yes, and he would be the first person to say he's not a motivational speaker.
Oh, geez. Well, what is he, a coach?
He
What
says
is he?
he's a strategist. He says he gives people the strategies they need to get to where they want to go.
Okay, well, he's good at his job.
Yes.
And okay, let's talk about suffering. And he talked a lot about suffering because he genuinely wants to help people to not suffer and to feel good and to be happy. And his number one, okay, I'm sorry, his number one way to reduce your suffering was to tell us that as soon as we get outside of ourselves, so depression and suffering tends to be very self-focused. And when we get outside of ourselves and we focus on other people, we reduce our suffering, which, you know, I love thinking that way. And I love reminding myself of that. If we wallow in our sorrows, we're going to feel terrible. And you see people out there helping others and worrying about other people, and then you get outside of yourself. But he took it further because he really wants to help people reduce suffering. And he took us through an exercise that was so helpful because it was about changing our patterns. And he said, what are the two emotions? I'm trying to think what are the two emotions that make you suffer the most?
What are your two favorite flavors of suffering?
So I labeled, bless you, I labeled anger is overwhelmed a feeling. Anger and overwhelmed is what I picked. I don't know that overwhelmed is a feeling, but those are the two. Wouldn't you say, Seth, that those are the two that make me suffer the most?
Yes, those would be your two biggest ones.
Right.
Yes.
So he talked about, like, what is your trigger? What gets you to that place? And for me, you know, Seth and I recently had a conversation about this, and he didn't really know this, that I go to an angry, overwhelmed place when I feel alone with my load.
Workload, yes.
Like I have to do all of this, and I don't think about us as a team sometimes, and I don't think about the 3 kids who could help me, and I get, you know, buried is probably the word. So he said, you know, identify when this happens. And one of the things is, you know, even just like leaving the house and going in a million directions. And he was like, interrupt the pattern. And he used the funniest example. And he talked about people like losing his money, like a lot of money. And he said that he used to get furious, like just like super angry at these people. Like, how on earth? I mean, he used swear words, which I'm not going to swear right now, but how on earth did you lose all that money? And he said, get silly, get curious, change the pattern. So he started making silly faces and saying, I'm really curious.
So where am I $500,000 now?
Where could that money have gone? And he just changed. He said he used to say, what the F? And get really pissed. And he said, just changing it to, I'm really curious about that, with like a silly face. You know, I mean, I don't know who could do that about that much money. Right. But for me, I didn't write down my example, but I wrote about it. And it was something along the lines of, who wants to help me?
Yes. I remember that. That was a good one.
Right. It was just something like, instead of feeling alone and overwhelmed,
Yes.
I can turn to my family and be silly and be like, who wants to help?
First person to help gets a prize.
Oh, I like, see, you're good at that. Seth gets silly and you have fun with them. And I need to do that more.
Yes.
Do you want to do your example?
Well, it's on a separate topic.
Oh, you go ahead. What do you want to say?
So one of the things I wanted to share is Tony's 3 steps to lasting change. Number 1, you have to get enough leverage to want to change. You have to be disturbed enough. People don't necessarily change because they're happy. You have to have enough pain to motivate you to do something. Then you've got to interrupt the pattern, like Rebecca was talking about, but it's not just enough to interrupt it. You've got to replace it with a new empowering pattern and reinforce that pattern over and over and over again until the old one is gone and your default is your new empowering pattern.
Yes. And I remember counseling people and being taught that it was like 300, it might even be more, my memory might be wrong, but it was like 300 repetitions to really get something. So it's like we think that we do something a couple of times and it becomes a pattern, but it takes a lot of practice.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely.
So can we end with the 6 needs?
Yes.
Because I can only imagine how long we have taken, because this is such a good topic.
30 minutes. We're good. We got time for the 6 human needs.
Lily is like, what, you're doing the seminar?
Don't worry, we're not going to do 15, 30, 60 hours. We're going to do 30 minutes.
Okay, so Tony talked about our 6 needs. And he says they're certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. And I'm not going to give it justice. He talked about it for hours. So you can totally, I mean, we recommend his seminar.
Absolutely.
You can totally sign up and attend virtually if you have 4 free days from your children. I'm just kidding. I know you don't. But I also realized that I made excuses.
Yeah.
And I could have said to the kids, listen, this means a lot to me. So I'm going to do this for 4 days and I'm going to listen as much as I can. So
we'll give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're on your own for a lot of the rest.
So I realized that I can tend to make excuses to not do something that's important. So
you do that.
I need to find ways to make it happen.
Yes.
So he basically talked about, are you fulfilling your needs? Like, take a look at these needs, see how you're fulfilling them, and see how you can make yourself feel more fulfilled and happy.
Yeah, he said to rate how you're doing on each one on a scale of 1 to 10, and then put them in order. And he said, if you told him the order of which of importance they were to you, he could tell you pretty much everything going on in your life. And then, is that the order you actually want them to be in? Do you want significance, feeling important, to be number 1? Or do you want love and connection to be number 1? And by changing the order in which you place importance on those needs, you can totally change your life.
Absolutely. And I want to tell everyone that something that made me feel very sad was when he said that people get the most significance from talking to people about their problems. And I was like, oh my God, that's like terrible. And he said, we also get variety by having
Different
a multitude of problems. But I'm going to tell you my top 2 needs. And then Seth, you can share or not share.
Okay.
But you don't have to. But I'm going to share. Mine are pretty obvious. And I think you identified them before I did. But I think we agreed. Yes. I would say that for me, and I want you to take time and think about what your top 2 needs are and how you could make yourself happier by fulfilling them more. But my number 1, without even thinking much, is connection and love. I am a people person. I need people. I need love. I need to feel connected. I feel like I'm here on this earth to connect with people and to love people. And it's like number 1 to me. And I find it in such a variety of ways. And I feel super fulfilled in that number 1 need.
Awesome.
Yes.
Glad I'm helping you there.
My husband, my kids, our parents, our friends. I mean, we're blessed with a wonderful village of people.
Yes.
And my number 2, I would say, is contribution. I don't know. Okay. What would you pick something else for me?
No, I hadn't thought about it.
Maybe we only talked about number 1.
You and I only talked about your number 1. Yes.
Well, and I realized looking at these, number 1 was obvious. Number 2, I had to think about for a minute, but I realized that I feel I'm contributing in so many ways.
You're always volunteering. You're always helping people. You're always giving back.
That's not even what I was going to say, but that's part of it. So the piece to it was volunteering at school. The piece to it is doing the work and the social work. But I feel like I contribute by being your wife.
You do.
I feel like I contribute by being their mother. Like, I feel like I'm contributing in a multitude of ways. And I think that's part of why I picked social work. So I feel I would tell you
that would satisfy your need for connection and contribution.
And I would tell you that I feel super fulfilled in my top 2 needs.
Awesome.
What about you?
So I'm not as altruistic as my wonderful wife. And depending on the period of life that we're in, my top 2 were significance and love. And the times I place significance ahead of love, is when maybe my love interest is perhaps not as happy about that. So I revised them to put love first and growth is number 2, because I'm always learning. I'm always listening to something. I'm always watching something. I'm always trying to learn more and grow as a person, husband, father, entrepreneur. And I realized that significance can come out of the growth. And if I focus on the growth, then that's positive and beneficial for others, as opposed to just focusing on the significance, which is just about making me feel important. So I'm super excited about I have been focusing on the growth side as opposed to significance, and I can already see a change.
I want to tell you how just those 2 sentences, the whole seminar was worth it. The whole seminar, like, to hear you say that,
We haven't talked about this.
He has not shared with me, and I put him on the spot. You never have to share.
I understand that. I was saving most of my stuff for our mastermind where we're going to teach it, but no, my audience doesn't necessarily all watch your show. So yes. I'm okay with that.
So it's all worth it right there. And I'm so proud and impressed that he got there. I'm very touched. I'm so happy. He's learning. I feel like we're both learning and growing so much. And I realized that I thought that we were like these 2 polar opposite people that came together. And then I realized when we were starting this seminar together, we were both so excited. I was like, oh my God, we're both like self-improvement junkies.
Yes.
I'm like, we can't get enough of the, continuing ed and the seminars and the books and the podcasts. And I'm like, we're always listening to something. He always has something on. He's always trying to improve.
You yelled at me for that the other day. And since then, you'll notice when I was doing the dishes last night and when I was cooking, I purposely didn't have anything on.
I didn't notice.
And then you know what you said? You're always cooking. I'm like, wait a second. I was always listening to something 2 days ago. I stopped listening to something. Now I'm always cooking. That's not true either. So we got to change what you're focusing on and what it's meaning.
That's a whole,
yes.
You know what? Seth's diet is a whole nother topic.
That's not a topic. And we're not doing that.
We're not doing that, but like the amount of protein going on in this house. There's always protein cooking, but we won't go there. We are going
protein. It's plant-based.
We do love the plant-based protein, but we're going to end with tell them Seth is going to do a much better job than I just did. He's so much more thorough than me, and he listened more than I did.
I did listen more than
so tell them how they can sign up. Maybe we could put a link.
Yes. So I lead a monthly mastermind that is either business or marketing related. This month it's personal development because I'm going to be teaching highlights from the Tony Robbins seminar most of the whole time. It's 2 to 3 hours of content for Whinypaluza fans that you can attend for free. It's not going to be a business seminar. It's going to be personal development. There is no sales pitch. It's pure content, and we will put a link where you can register for free below this video in the comments.
I think it's Friday, March 26th.
It is Friday, March 26th, because I need enough time to summarize 60 hours of content in 2 to 3 hours. It takes more time to write the 2 to 3 hours than to write a longer one.
Well, and I am super excited because I missed so much of the seminar.
Because you had to learn to take care of kids.
so I cannot wait to attend this mastermind and hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you. No pressure.
Lily, we need you.
Perfect timing.
So I want to tell you that we have a couple of things going on before Lily closes us out. Every Wednesday, so next Wednesday, this vlog will go live as a podcast in case you would rather listen to a podcast. Some people are podcast people, some people are Facebook people, so you just never know where people are. And I realize that people are in different places. And every Friday is a podcast where I get to talk to someone fascinating who is in the mommy world, usually a successful mother who has lots of fabulous things going on in the parenting and marriage world. And Seth, I think this Friday might be you and I talking about marriage.
Uh-oh. We do a new one now that we learn more.
I think that Seth and I did a Valentine's special together. We decided on Valentine's Day to do a podcast together, and we were both so excited to do it. So I think that one goes live this Friday. And Lily.
Before I wanted to say that was really fun at my class, and I wanted to talk.
Oh, bingo was fun. Bingo, yes, the school did a great job with Zoom bingo. It was lots of fun.
Good job, Maple.
Good. Let's not advertise your school. Let's sing us out.
Thank you for watching Whinypaluza Wednesday with the Green Family. Cha cha chicken.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful week.